Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm going to be reacting to Sadhguru at, is it Sir? JJ College of Architecture. Mumbai Youth and Truth. So I kind of skipped a lot of the beginning. It's something that he normally says in about every one. Also, although this one right here is a little bit different, I think. I haven't watched it all, but it's something I don't think I've heard him say at the very beginning, so I thought this would be a good starting part. So let's go ahead and get started. Also, by the way, please, if you haven't heard Sadhguru talk about this kind of stuff, definitely listen to it. It's very important. But the only reason why I skip it is because he kind of goes over this quite a lot in his talks anyway.
The world is being taught today, all over United States is popular for this right now. I think it's also reached Mumbai, after all you're on the west coast. I'm sure it's reached here also, everybody's going about telling you, be in the moment. Huh? They're telling you? You're trying. So, what does be in the moment mean? Well, please be somewhere else and show me. Can you? Can you be somewhere else right now? No. So what is the teaching about be in the moment? What they're telling you is, do not think about yesterday, do not think about tomorrow. It took millions of years of tremendous amount of evolutionary work to get your brains to this level of capability, yes? And now somebody is telling you don't use it. The beauty of this mind, the beauty of your intelligence is, you can remember every experience of life vividly. Otherwise, if you artists have amnesia, they don't remember a thing, they can't produce a thing, isn't it? Hello? The visual memory, isn't it vital?
I mean, but at least with the amnesia, they're always living in the now. Never in the past and never in the future. It's very much true that they're living in the now. I was going to answer the phrase of how I interpreted living in the now or in the moment is you're presented with a situation at the moment. Don't, I guess it's kind of bad. You're presented in a situation in the moment. Don't worry about what happens tomorrow or about your past. Enjoy the moment that you're in right now. So bungee cord jumping or something like that, or something thrilling, jumping out of the plane, I don't know, just something that's happening at that very moment. Enjoy it. Don't worry about tomorrow, don't worry about the past. Enjoy the moment that you're in at that moment. That way you can be really into it. And this is something that Eckhart talks a lot about. I haven't watched his video in a little bit, but I know he always talks about the now. I know, is it, I can't remember the other person, can't remember the other person's name, but only ever in the now, because the now is the only reality. There is no such thing as the future, there's no such thing as the past, there's only the now. The future is just a fantasy, it's imagination. Because you don't know what's going to actually happen. You can imagine it all you want, but it's not necessarily going to happen that way. Now, I'm not saying that you can't plan for the future, but, but, and this is the thing I want to say, it's like also that, be aware of the future, try to plan for it so nothing comes in as a surprise, but also understand that now is the only reality. The past is something that you learn, and you can plan a future with. That's interesting. The future and the past are tied to some degree. Because you use what you learned in the past to plan out the future and the present also too. So I guess, yeah. Don't forget the past. Now it's the only reality. Future's fake. It can happen any way you want it. It can happen any way it's supposed to. There's no guarantee that even if you plan it out, that it'll happen that way.
We can remember things vividly, every experience, every sight, every sound, everything that came to us through the five senses. And we have a fantastic sense of imagination. These are the two most fantastic faculties of being human, isn't it? Now they're telling you, do not think about the past, do not think about the future, be in the moment. Anyway, you're in the moment, you cannot go anywhere. Can you? Try please. Can you go somewhere else? No. So they're telling you, your memory and imagination, you must freeze it. The entire human experience is between these three dimensions. We have a vivid sense of memory. Memory not just what you remember. What you call as my body is just a repository of memory. There's evolutionary memory, there's genetic memory, there is karmic memory, articulate and inarticulate forms of memory. Entire human experience and human form is because of memory, isn't it so? If you eat dog food, do you think you will take the shape of a dog in 10 days? Hello? Because this one remembers, there's evolutionary memory in this, you do what you want, this remembers, this has to take only this form, isn't it? And this remembers million years ago how your forefathers were, has it forgotten? No. So this is memory, they're telling you, do not be conscious about that. And they're telling you, do not imagine a tomorrow. Why they're telling you this is, a whole lot of people do not know how to handle their memory and imagination, that's what they suffer most. What happened 10 years ago, they still suffer. What may happen day after tomorrow, they already suffer. They're not suffering life, they're essentially suffering their memory and their imagination. What they should be enjoying most, they're suffering. So somebody is saying, just be in the moment, do not remember, do not imagine. For this, there is a simpler solution. If we remove half your brain, you will be just in the moment. Yes, you will be really being in the moment. The nature of human mind is, you can be here absolutely involved and still think of 24 things. Yes or no? Possible or no? Because they have not read the user's manual, they're trying to operate the phone from the back cover. They think there is something wrong with this one. No, on this planet, this is the peak of evolution, isn't it? Hello? Some of you don't seem to agree. No, I'm not referring to you individually, I'm asking generally. Human beings are supposed to be the peak of evolution on this planet, isn't it so? So we have the greatest neurological system, we have a brain which is flowered into cerebral possibilities, but now we are suffering that one thing so much. Recently, about 4 or 5 months ago, you might have heard about this, it was all on the news. A television anchor from Hyderabad, anybody? Telugu people? Okay. A television anchor from Hyderabad, 34-year-old woman. A young woman jumped off the 5th floor and killed herself. And she left a note saying, nobody is responsible for my death, my brain is my enemy. The only reason we are a dominant life on this planet is simply because you got some brains, isn't it? Otherwise, you are not comparable to any other animal in their capabilities. You're not as strong as an elephant, not as fierce as a tiger, as capable as a buffalo either. Yes, they're all eco-friendly on top of it. The only reason why you're valuable is because of your intelligence, isn't it? But that is the biggest problem. The only thing human beings are suffering is their own intelligence. Yes or no?
I mean, it's kind of weird, you know. It makes you think about, like, I guess there's all the other animals that what they accelerate: agility, strength, swimming. I'm trying to think of other things. None of that's suffering, you know. You don't suffer for your strength, you don't suffer for your agility, you don't suffer for your capabilities of swimming or breathing underwater or flying. But yet, the thing that makes, I suppose, makes us the most powerful, in a sense, animal in the animal kingdom is our brain. which comes with great side effect. The greatest power is the mind, because we're able to create things. So if we were to go one-on-one with any kind of animal, if we're able to develop weapons, we can hunt and kill one-on-one, you know. Obviously, if we go with our bare fist, you know, we would lose about a pretty good percentage of the time. But yeah, our brains allow us to develop weapons which we can use against animals. That's the reason why we're on top. I'm trying to point out, I guess. But yeah, yet that one greatest, I guess the greatest thing, I suppose the greatest thing on Earth, has such a major, I don't know if we call it a flaw, but just a downside. I don't know if it's a flaw. I don't think it's a flaw. Because obviously, being enlightened will remove that downside. So I don't think a flaw is the right way to say it. But yeah, I guess there's a heavy toll in having the most powerful thing in Earth, brain power, ability to create, ability to overcome certain things. Whereas if an animal, the only thing they got strength, then the only thing they can overcome is other strength things, or ability to fly. The only thing they can overcome is gravity to a degree. And then swim or breathe underwater, they can overcome the ability to stay underwater for very long periods of time because they can breathe underwater. Or our development is brain, and that has the ability to overcome a lot of things. And I guess the downside of that is, well, like Sadhguru was talking about here, is the memory. And it's kind of, I guess the whole point of that was just that the fact that the thing that makes us the greatest is, like he said, the one that has a major downside. If you're suffering, it's very much a downside. But we should be able to use this thing to get us out of it. Some of us can, some of us can't. And what Sadhguru is teaching, definitely, or Advaita Vedanta, a lot of the Eastern philosophies, and perhaps some of the Western, I'm not exactly sure, I have not touched the Western philosophies yet, is a way of getting out of this. And it's kind of sad. The thing that makes us the greatest is also the cause of our downfall. For actually a lot, actually. Think of all the great empires that have risen up and then have fallen because of corruption.
If you're alone and you suffer, obviously you're in bad company.
Your brain, yeah.
Yes or no? I am with you and I suffer. I can say it's because of her I am suffering. But I am alone and I am suffering. Bad company or no? So, we thought as a part of this Youth and Truth, we will reach out to the youth and bring as much clarity as possible. For this, you have to shoot your questions. Please.
Hello, sir.
Oh.
My question
I
to
have
you
not
is,
gotten any knighthood or anything yet.
I believe that art is anything that expresses who we are as individuals. What are your views on that? And how can one make the most of one's talent?
Real quick, sorry. Oh, there's no panel up here. I was like, wow, we went straight into the questions. On art, it's very subjective. Do the best you can, is all I can think of.
Say, please. I am not an artist and if I say something abrasive, please pardon me, okay? There are two ways to do any art, music, art, whatever expressions we make, even spiritual process, or business, or politics, or anything that we do in the world. There are two ways to do it. One is, it is a stamp that we leave on the world. It's a footprint that we leave on the world. This… I was here. Another is find expression, not to myself, but to a larger life that's happening here, which is bigger than me, much bigger than me or you. Give an expression to that. Those who are intent on leaving a footprint, they shall never fly. So it's your choice whether you want to leave a footprint or you want to fly. That which flies leaves no trace of anything, but it flies. It's very different.
I'm wondering, does he mean like, is it because when you leave a footprint, you worry that that footprint will be erased, so you want to make sure that footprint stays visible while you're alive? So instead of worrying about flying, you're more worried about making sure that footprint is there? Is that the reason why? I was thinking, why not both? Why not create something beautiful and fly at the same time? I mean, if you once you're enlightened, you can create art. You know, it's not like perhaps I guess the fact is that you want this art to leave a footprint, as opposed to just creating art for the fun of it, enjoying life as it is, as opposed to creating something that will last the test of time, like the pyramids of Egypt, the Great Wall of China, Mona Lisa, the Taj Mahal, the Big Ben, all these different monuments that so far has lasted, but obviously we understand everything's temporary.
So, if it's an expression of your individuality, you will leave a footprint. But if you become a conduit for something bigger, a phenomena that's happening here, then you leave no footprint, but you don't have to leave a footprint because you fly.
Sadhguru saying all this, and he's going to leave a massive footprint.
And it'll always be celebrated.
And his footprint is save the soil, planting trees, all the lingas he's done, all the centers he's done, and all the ideas that's implanted on everyone that's listened to him and watched him. Sorry, Sadhguru, you're leaving the biggest footprint ever.
At this rate, you're going to crush everybody, it's better to pass it.
Oh. Sorry. And I guess this is the reason why I want to talk about it. Sadhguru probably has no intent on leaving a footprint, but the sheer fact of, because of the things he's done, he will be, whether he intended it or not. That's what I'm trying to point out, basically. And yeah, he definitely left a footprint on me, for sure.
Sadhguru. My question is, as you have said for many times, Shiva has explored all the dimensions. Shiva has explored all the dimensions of life. Everything he has explored. In this age, when the energy is at its peak, how can we explore every aspect of the life without being untouched and getting attached to all the compulsive activities? We say, I don't want to drink, but somewhere we are afraid that we will be addicted to it. My question is, how can we explore every aspect of life without being untouched?
See, nobody says, I want to drink. Some people drink. Some people don't. Some people who drink may drink for the pleasure of it. Some people who drink may drink because they want to drown something within themselves. Some people drink because everybody is drinking. It's an evolutionary it's an evolutionary issue, When we were monkeys, if one did this, everybody did this. And some people don't drink because they think it's morally wrong. Some people don't drink because they're afraid their parents and society, what they will say. Some people don't drink because they found something better within themselves. They found something far better than a drink, so it never arose in their mind that they have to drink because they're doing wonderfully by themselves. They don't need any chemical help from outside. So these are different ways. If you want to explore life, because you can only explore life, you cannot explore art, you cannot explore spirituality, you cannot explore something. You can only explore life, yes? Well, you may look at it from a certain perspective. Somebody may look at it in an artistic way, in an aesthetic way, in a musical way, in a spiritual way, but essentially we're exploring life. Even if you are looking at inanimate things, you're only exploring life because nothing happens outside of you. Everything that happens only within you, isn't it? Do you see me right now, even if you're not hearing? Even if you're not listening, are you able to see me? Can you use your one hand and point out where I am? You got it wrong.
Oh,
This light is falling upon me, reflecting, going through your lenses, inverted image in the retina, you know the whole thing? You know the whole story, right? Where do you see me now? Within yourself. Where do you hear me right now? Within yourself. Where have you seen the whole world? Within yourself. Anything that ever happened to you, joy or misery, light or darkness, pain or pleasure, happened only within you, isn't it so?
now this is the thing that I wanted to… I won't say I had a question, but how I understood how everything is you, because everything happens within you, within your consciousness. You have to be conscious of it for you to be aware of it. Therefore, if you're aware of it, it happens in your consciousness. Therefore, it is therefore, it is you. That's the thing I don't know how to explain. If it happens, it must happen in your consciousness. The reason why it must happen in your consciousness is because your consciousness is the only thing that you can be aware of. If it doesn't happen in your consciousness, you are not aware of it, therefore it doesn't happen. Maybe?
Did you ever experience anything outside of you? Did you? So the only thing that you're experiencing is life. You may think this is color, you may think this is sound, you may think this is something else. No. In your experience, you're only experiencing the way different things imprint upon your life. That's the only way you can experience it. There is no other means of experience for you. So essentially, you're only exploring life because nothing else you have access to. Yes? Right now, I may think I'm looking at this person, but no, I am only looking at the image that happens in my mind, isn't it so? Right now, if you touch somebody next to you, think you're experiencing that person's hand. No, you only experience the sensations in your hand, isn't it so?
Another thing about that I was going to say is the sheer fact that amazingly, now this is something that science says, it's kind of weird, we never actually touch each other. There's always… so me holding something, it's not me actually touching it. I think there's like a space between your molecules and the molecules that you're touching too. So it's kind of interesting. Look that up for sure. And there's a kind of a funny joke where someone slaps someone. It's like, I never touch it. According to science, we never touch each other because there's a certain level of, I don't know whether it's static electricity or something that repels our molecules. So whenever you're doing like this, you're not actually touching your fingers together. It's really weird. I never really delved deep into it because it doesn't necessarily matter. But it's just kind of interesting the fact that when you're doing like this, your two fingers are not touching each other. It's really weird.
So your entire experience of life is absolutely within you. That means you are capable of experiencing only this one life. So is it a trap that you can only experience this? No. If you experience this, then everything becomes a possibility because, see, when it comes to body, we clearly know this is my body, that's your body, 100%. This is my mind, that's your mind, 100%, isn't it? But when it comes to life, there is no such thing as your life and my life. This is a living cosmos. You just captured a little bit of it. How much you captured, how much life have you gathered within you will determine what is the scope and scale of your life. So whether you call it art, whether you call it music, whether you call it spiritual process or whatever the nature of activity, activity is a means to open up your borders of individuality. Well, that first question, is it a way of stamping my individuality? No, it is a way of erasing the boundaries of your individuality so that something larger than yourself happens to you. Something larger than what you think as myself happens to you in your life. This is the purpose of love, this is the purpose of art, this is the purpose of sexuality, this is the purpose of spiritual process. Essentially, that something larger than myself must happen to me, because only if this happens, I feel trapped inside this. Yes or no? You interpret this in many different ways, but essentially what you're looking for is, you want to somehow go beyond the limitations of your own boundaries. The word yoga, you've heard of the word yoga? Hello? The word yoga means people think twisting and turning is not yoga. The word yoga means union. Union means if you sit here, there is you and the universe. If you sit here tightly fixed with your boundaries, it is you versus the universe. You versus universe is a stupid competition. Hello? Those of you who are like this all the time, it's an absolutely idiotic competition between you and the universe. If you have any sense, you don't compete with the universe, because you're a small speck in this universe.
This is something I've I won't say recently thought of, but the way I look at things is that the more you understand something, the more you can go with the flow of things, and the less that you're fighting something that's a reality, the easier life becomes. For example, if I don't know how to really do an example. If you, I guess it's a quick and dirty, simple example. If you want to go pee, if you're saying no, I don't want to go pee, and your body just considers like, no, we gotta go. You are fighting, you're resisting, and it's causing pain. Because you're going against something that obviously that you need to go do. Something else would be, for example, if you, I don't, trying to come up with examples with this is a little rough, but say you like someone, but you don't tell them that you like them, and then your body sounds like your body just says that you like them. Not saying that you have to go tell them or anything, but this body's constantly saying I like them, and then you're saying no, I shouldn't ask, I shouldn't go tell or anything like that. You're resisting your body. But don't get me wrong, when you go ask and they say no or whatever, you're going to be hurt. And then again, your body still is not going to change its mind. It's like, oh, body, you need to stop because they said no. It's like, no, your body's just going to do things. But when you can understand it, and I don't know if I want to say control it, but Sadhguru says if you read the manual of your body, then it should be a lot easier. But yeah, if you understand about your body, and it's like, well, there's nothing I can really do about it, the less difficult it becomes because you understand. But if you don't read the manual for body, if you don't understand your body, you don't understand why that's there, and you don't do anything about it, it's going to be really rough. This goes for anything in life. Something simple as your basic human nature to understanding that I cannot be a basketball player, and like, oh, I'm suffering because I can't do dunks and stuff. It's like, well, yeah, it's gonna suck, but I understand I can't be a basketball player. I'm not tall enough, I can't jump high enough, and I probably shoot worth a crap. So then me understanding that says, okay, well, if I can't do all those things, clearly I can't be a basketball player, so I shouldn't try to be a basketball player. Boom. If I can understand that and stop wanting to be a basketball player, my life will be a lot easier. I should want to do things that's relatively easy or something that I know I can do. It's less abrasive to do this throughout life. I'm not saying don't try things out, but understand your limitations and be realistic about it. And whenever you're realistic about it, I think life will be a lot easier. You're not trying to do things that you know that you're not capable of. You're not trying to force your body to do something that you don't want. This, I guess, kind of goes along with karma, because you're fighting something that's kind of, in a sense, natural or instinctual.
How do you compete? This is what individuality means. Individuality means you are head-on with the universe. Yoga means you obliterated the boundaries of your individuality. The distinction between what is you and what is the universe has gone down considerably. If you sit here what is you and what is everything else is about the same in your experience. If this happens to you, then you will see there is no such thing as my life and your life. There is just one big life happening. This experience is needed. A tremendous experience is needed within you if you want to create something fantastic. If you want to create something brilliant, something unique, something truly of some significance, you need an experience. But this is not if you find me too prejudiced, please tell me. I will tell you why I am prejudiced. The influence of European art on the rest of the world is disproportionately large. There is no joy in the art. The more miserable it is, the more profound it is supposed to be. It should look grotesque and… Because this became a European trait that in their own thought, they thought their thought is so supreme, they went to the point of saying, I think so, I exist.
I think, therefore I am. Is that what he's trying to say there? Well, I don't know if they thought they're… Well, I mean, I'm sure they probably did, but in terms of their art, it's just whatever. I think whatever they happen to believe is good. I don't know. Honestly, I didn't really study up on it. I know they did a lot of it.
I want to ask you a simple question. Is it because you think you exist, or because you exist you may think?
Ooh.
Which way is it, please?
I think the materialistic would be, I exist, therefore I think. I think what Sadhguru might say is, I think, therefore I exist. Well, not think, but your consciousness, therefore you exist. Without consciousness, you may think all you want, but you may not exist. You won't exist without consciousness.
Huh? Because you exist, you may think. Because most people are in such a state of mental diarrhea, they think thought is a continuous process. No, life is an ongoing process. Thought should happen consciously, isn't it? Now I'm here, I exist. Now my hand moves when I want. Suppose this hand all the time it's jumping around like this, you will think I have an ailment. And definitely you can't be an artist with a jumping hand. Right now, this is the state of most minds. They're always jumping all over the place. And they think it's normal. It's not normal. But Sadhguru, everybody is like this only. Well, that's how it is in asylum. Everybody will be like that only the doctor will be crazy. Rest will be like that only, isn't it? So, it's important that there is an experience of exuberance, joy, profoundness. But right now in the world, a whole lot of people think only in misery you can be profound. Because it is true that for most people, their pain is the most profound experience of their life. To know profoundness of joy, to know profoundness of love, to know profoundness of exuberance and intensity of life, it takes something more. But if we just stick a pin into you, just a pin, not a sword, just a pin, the pain goes to the core, isn't it? Hello? Just a little pin, 1-inch pin, if I stick it, so deep. So pain becomes profound much more easily. So a lot of people think pain is the source of profoundness. This has to change. Indian art and the rest of the world must get liberated from the European art forms because it comes from deep states of misery, very deep states of misery. Suffering has been celebrated. There is nothing celebratory about suffering. Maybe you can celebrate somebody else's suffering. There's nothing celebratory about your own suffering, isn't it? please.
Okay, actually, I want to pause it right there. It's a pretty good time. I was thinking of all the European arts. The only thing I can think of that's not suffering is the Mona Lisa. Maybe, I'm not sure. I don't know whether that woman's suffering. I mean, I'm sure she was suffering doing sitting there the entire time while she's being painted. I was thinking like, the Sixtine Chapel. I guess that's one of them. Was that Michelangelo? I can't remember. Honestly, I don't know who painted the things. I know Michelangelo, Da Vinci, Leonardo, Raphael. Because I remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoons. It's the only reason I know their names. But yeah, the Sixtine Chapel was about like God and Adam. Don't remember the rest of the picture, but I'm guessing that in some sense that's suffering because we've lost touch with God. So that's in a sense suffering. Trying to think of like the other pictures that have made it through history. I don't really honestly know too much of European arts or art in general. Mona Lisa is popular. The screaming thing, I can't remember what that's called. I don't even know what it's about. Sixtine Chapel, the Last Supper, when I think right before Jesus was betrayed. Again, suffering is portrayed as this is the Last Supper. So yeah, that's definitely portraying of suffering. Man, I'm sure there's plenty of pictures I can think of or European art, but I just can't think of it at the moment. But yeah, never thought about it as just celebrating suffering. But is the Mona Lisa suffering? I don't know. Anyways, at least this is part 1 of Sadhguru at Sri or Sir JJ College of Architecture, Mumbai. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.